There I am. Sorry. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's stream. My name's Dominic Sacco. I'm head of content at the British Esports Association. We've got a really cool stream for you today. We've got three of our sim racing game advisors here at British Esports who are going to be talking about differences between their different titles, how they got into sim racing, and also they've created some cool videos for us. They've done some hot laps and they've done some last to first challenges as well. So we're going to celebrate all things sim racing with some real experts here. I'm delighted. I'm joined by Nick Egan, Tobin Leigh and Phill Russell, and they're going to be focusing on F1, Forza and iRacing respectively. So I'm going to leave it to the experts today, guys. I'm not a sim racing expert, so I'll leave it to these three. They're going to be discussing amongst themselves as the stream goes on, and I'm going to take a back seat and leave it to the drivers. So over to you guys.
Hello, everyone.
Well, yeah, hello, everyone. I'm Nick. So I'm going to be talking to you about some F1 stuff.
And I'm Tobin Leigh. I'm a Forza player. I've been playing now for like a couple of years, and yeah, I'll be talking you through some footage we have along with all the other guys as well. Phill.
And I'm Phill Russell. I'm mainly based in iRacing, and yeah, again, I'll be showing you some of my racing on iRacing from the back to the front.
Yeah, so I got into F1. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the sport. And then when Codemasters took over the games in 2010, I've been playing them ever since. And obviously, there's only so much offline you can play, so started playing online in 2011, and then got into creating my own league, racing league, where drivers can come along and race. Set up the platform for them to be able to do that. And yeah, been doing that ever since now. I'm just about to start my 16th season with my League One Hub Racing. So I don't race as much anymore. I more just run the league, but I'm happy to be able to, give lots of drivers from all over the world an opportunity to race competitively. And yeah, it's loads of fun.
Yeah, and bit different for me because I've really taken up, like, when I was younger, I was like 15 or something. I was 14 when I first got into it. But I really wanted to become an F1 driver, a real racing driver, or the typical aim of any kid that age. But I couldn't afford it, basically, and as a result, I then opted to play racing games instead. And through that, I ended up playing firstly the Formula One games, and then I played the. Sorry if you can hear that background noise. Of course, that happens. Yeah, I played the F1 games, and then ultimately I ended up in Forza, which I've been competing in for the last 3.5 years, like professionally. So it's been pretty mad, and yeah, Forza is actually now taking a bit of a back seat in the sim racing world as well. And so in the last year, I've been really competing on Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione and iRacing as well. And it's been like the last year as well, it's just been mad with, highlights being, I've done stuff with like Lando Norris and also Jenson Button a couple of weeks ago, which was just surreal. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah.
Yeah, so myself started sim racing in 2018. It's not very long, really. The last couple of years, I used to race back in the day when I was in my younger years in go-karts, and then I did a bit of Junior Ginetta and Formula Renault, and then my dad ran out of money, so I had to stop. But yeah, I went into the sim racing route. Obviously, a long, maybe 12 years after my whole racing adventure ended. So. And started with Project Cars. It was just a Christmas present from my mother-in-law, actually, Project Cars, and just started doing some like online lobbies, and kind of started from there. And then did a few competitions, went to Belgium and did a Belcar Live final, did the Renault Sports series, and then I switched over from Project Cars, was it last year, I believe, and went to iRacing and started competing with that. And I'm now with Team Fordzilla. So yeah, it's kind of come about quite quickly. I'm still learning, and hoping to keep progressing, really, because I love racing. This is the closest I get to it, the money I got in my pocket. So so yeah.
Right, so yeah, I think we're gonna go over to some F1 footage that I recorded, obviously on the brand new F1 2020 game that just came out beginning of July. So if you're an F1 fan, definitely check it out. And yeah, we're gonna just run through some footage that I've done, and obviously Tobin and Phill, you guys are more than welcome to give me some advice, because I'm not as quick as I used to be, that's for sure. Yeah, so we're just waiting for the stream to come up, the footage. But I basically did a hot lap in the rain, in the dry, and then I did a last to first challenge, which I didn't actually make it to first, but never mind. And I also included a clip of when I was practicing my hot lap, me spinning out. So yeah, just a little added bonus there. So it should be coming up now. Yeah, so we're in Silverstone now. So obviously Formula One car, lots of downforce. I left the racing line on so you guys can see. This is the start finish straight. Straight down into turn 1, which is completely flat. Careful not to cut the corner. And then turn 2, heavy braking into turn 3. You want to carry as much speed as you can through these corners. Brake as late, but obviously be able to get on the power. This is a really tricky corner on traction. but it seemed to do right. DRS, obviously, it's a flap on the rear of the car which opens and makes you go faster down the straight. Again, another corner, try and keep it tight. This one, you want to lift off mid-corner and accelerate up through the gears nice and smoothly. Use the exit curb. Obviously, the more the track you use, the quicker you're going to go. This is the old start-finish straight of the Silverstone circuit, and this corner is flat. And it's interesting, as the cars throughout the years get faster and faster, you can take these sorts of high-speed corners faster and faster every game cycle. And at this point, I'm just completely throwing the car through these Maggots and Beckett's complexes, which are some of my favorite on the game. Into Stowe again, another really high-speed corner. Used some exit curb, probably could have used a bit more. And then heavy braking for the last couple of corners here. Again, tricky little traction zone. Going back onto the start-finish straight. And that's a lap complete. So yeah, not too bad. Haven't had the game too long, haven't played it too much. And yeah, here we go. So again, in the rain, a lot more tricky. I only did this one lap, so you're going to see me sliding all over the place. I didn't even set the car up for the rain here. So yeah, Tobin and Phill might be like, God, you're going slow. But yeah, just yeah, it's so difficult in these conditions to carry speed that you were in the dry conditions. And you guys will probably, say the same. Like, it just makes it so much more difficult. And like the visibility here isn't too bad, but when you're behind another car, it's just so difficult to, not to hit them, to get your braking points right. And yeah, you guys will probably agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, completely different racing style in the wet. So,
how much grip do these have? Like, I haven't actually played the new F1 game. Like, how much grip compared to previous games?
Yeah, I
remember, like, it varies game to game. Anyway.
Yes, definitely. This game's definitely got the most downforce the cars have ever had, and so, downforce is what it's all about in a Formula One car. Everyone describes it as an upside down aeroplane where you're trying to stick the car to the track as much as possible. That's what all these little bits on the car, the front wing, all that sort of stuff, they make a big difference. And yeah, in the wet, you lose a lot of that downforce, which is why it's so tricky, particularly on traction. You're trying to get on the power with these engines. You can't just floor it. You need to really be careful, and sometimes when you're going through these corners, you're actually steering out. Like, then you're counter steering to the way you naturally should be going. But yeah, no, good fun in the wet. I always find it more fun. And just to show you how difficult it is, like, when you're driving, you guys will know this as well. One small mistake and that's it. Once you lose the car, it's gone. So one little mistake there, too early on the power, and you just can't catch it. That's it. You're done.
Savage.
Don't worry, I had a few of those moments in my race as well, so don't worry about that too much.
So here we are. This is the last to first challenge. Obviously, red lights, 5 red lights. Whack it up to rich fuel. We've got an overtake button on this year's game, so we're gonna whack that in straight away. Obviously, these are against the computers. I'm in the Mercedes car as we head into turn 1, so always a little bit cautious not to get damage to the car, because that'll affect you. Send it down the inside, because on the first few laps in any sim racing game, I think the computers, you can always send it at some point down the first few corners. I don't know if on you guys you find the same, but definitely when you race the computers, they're never as realistic as racing someone online.
Definitely.
So yeah,
really
just
see it trains, cars ahead as well in this game. It's like that's one of the other things that I know that Codemasters have really done well. Like, when they're on high difficulty, some of the AI can be a bit nutty, which is quite good. Again, I'm not sure exactly how it is on this game, but compared to back, because I used to play this game back in like 2014, and they were all just terrible. They were just like getting out the way and stuff. It's like, that's not how you race. So yeah, less
like that corner there, Perez probably would have backed out a few years ago on previous games, whereas he held it in there, and obviously we weren't able to get the move done until getting a better exit. But when you're racing computers, it's not the same as obviously when you're racing online. You can tell by obviously I broke a bit late there, almost rear-ended the Renault. But when you're racing people online, sometimes you can sit behind them for a lap and you can figure out where it's going to be your best opportunity to overtake, like where they're slightly slow in the traction, where they're slightly braking a little bit earlier. And you guys will probably, agree that sometimes it's better to figure out where to pass someone than, just sending it.
Exactly.
So coming onto the straight, obviously on the second lap, we're already up to P10. So we're halfway there. And now it's just about biding your time, using your overtake button as best possible. Obviously using you have different engine modes. You want to turn it up into a rich engine mode when you plan to get past. So no forcing gear here, and one small little touch and that's it. As you saw earlier, you're in the wall. So I slid a little bit there, went slightly wide. So yeah, like Tobin, as you say, like a few years ago, the computers would have backed out then the AI. So, he's probably holding it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be fair, again, it looks like you're actually able to race them on this game. Like, I always found it difficult, as I said, to race offline on these games. But like, it's and by difficult, I don't mean challenging. I meant like they were just so dumb. It was so funny. But like, yeah, again, it's another one of the ways that this game's like stepped forward over the last couple of years, which is always good to see.
Yeah, so you can see DRS has been enabled now. So that's basically gives you a boost on the straight if you're within a second of the car in front. And so we'll send it late down the inside there. That was a little bit late, but and you'll see a line. You see the DRS in the bottom corner of my display, and then the lines are going to come out, and that's when I can open it, and it gives me some extra straight line speed. But as you were saying, Tobin, if you touch a computer or any competitor, particularly in Formula 1 cars, and you just damage the tiny bit of your car, it can have such an effect on your overall lap time. So just being patient sometimes is key to moving forwards.
Yeah, back in the day when I used to play, there was a thing called a side pod glitch. I don't know, Nick, if you remember the side pod glitch, but that would be where you're racing, and then if two cars came side by side and then touched the side pod of the car, then this car going for the move would just auto spin, and it was like the most horrible thing where you'd be in a league race or whatever, going for that critical move for the lead of the race or the last or wherever you are, and typically last for me. And then you go for that move, and then your car would just die. But again, that's another thing that they've improved. It's like this game's so much better than back in the day. So
yeah, it really is.
Definitely improved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even from a couple of years ago, because I played the 2017, I think, and that was quite hard work. I found it very difficult to play, but from what I've heard in this game, it sounds like it's improved a hell of a lot. So
what a move!
Well done to them.
Up the inside of the loop. That was incredible.
Nice.
Yeah,
good job, man.
Good, man. I actually had a league race once there, and there was a safety car just come out just before, and I just sent it up the inside there, and my front wing was just slightly ahead when the safety car came out, so then I kept the position. And sometimes, people, because there's a straight coming up, someone's probably going to think, oh, he'll wait for the straight, so you can sometimes just send it down the inside and get the move done. But corners like this, being so close to a car in front in a Formula 1 car, it means you have to lift off so much more than if he wasn't there, because a Formula 1 car is designed all about airflow over and under the car, and obviously where there's another car in front so close, so you can see his flap open there. So he's got it, the next car in front's got it, and managed to get both of them. And that was just about turning my fuel up, using my overtake button to get the position. So coming to last lap, we've got 3 positions to do. So my teammate, I think, is leading. So see if we can make it a 1-2 for Mercedes on the final lap.
What a move! What a move! Whoa, that was such a send. That was such a good move. You bullied him out of the way. Wow, what a set. Get in there, Lewis. Fantastic drive there.
You should be my race engineer.
Yeah, you are actually Lewis as well. That's brilliant. Oh, yes.
Silverstone is such a great track as well to drive. Like, it's such high speed, some nice braking zones. It's a good length. It's great. I went there last year to watch it when Lewis won, and the atmosphere was just amazing.
Like last year, it was absolutely like crazy as well. I was watching the Grand Prix last year, just up here actually, just at the end of Stowe. And then when the race was over, pegged it onto the track and then next to the podium. And then where he did his podium surf like last year, I was actually under him, pressing him up. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that never forget.
I was about 10 people back. Couldn't quite get that.
Nick, we probably bumped into each other.
Yeah, we probably did. Yeah. But there we go. So what did I get?
P3 on the podium.
Well done.
So decent teammate win. So Mercedes will be happy with that one. That's for sure.
Surprised driver of the day wasn't Max Verstappen.
Yeah, Lewis never gets it in real life, but
I know.
We got him it tonight. So
he doesn't start last in real life. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
We should put him back. Probably quite entertaining.
But no, this year's game is definitely a step forward. There's a few, things online, but the game's only come out, so we're just waiting for some updates before we can proper start league racing. But looking forward to, all the races we're going to put on in my league particularly, but across all the platforms and all the leagues, it's hopefully going to be a really good game. I think you're coming up next, Tobin. But podium celebration. You can actually customize how you celebrate, and you can customize your car on this year's. Like you can create your own team and stuff. So haven't had to do it myself yet, but
definitely something they need to do. Like customizing cars is like everyone loves doing that. So again, it's a good opportunity you've taken up there.
So guys, what do you think about lockdown racing and the rise of it?
It's been pretty insane, isn't it, the last few months, for sure. It's definitely taken off. Don't know about you guys, but it's, so many opportunities to take part with, like you said earlier, you took part with Jenson Button and Lando Norris, and there's like so many events which are amazing, and for good causes as well, actually, for like charity, which has been fantastic to see. But I don't know what kind of stuff you've been doing in your respective games. In iRacing, it's pretty high standard.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on it earlier. Forza has done what any good game developer would do, and they've decided to abandon it. So I've just been like I've been forced to get involved with other games, which is why, like Phil, I got involved in iRacing. I played that quite a bit over lockdown, and also Assetto Corsa. I did like the mini challenge series on Assetto Corsa, which is like the official British motorsport category for it's like mini only racing, and they did an esport category, which is good. And let's check out my footage. I know how exciting that is. All right,
show us how it's really done.
Yeah, we got okay, so this footage right here was probably actually one of the best races I've ever done in esports, to be honest. Like, I've done quite a few of them now, but this one was pretty surreal. And this is so weird commentating over it again. But basically this is in the Le Mans esports series this year, the official Le Mans esport category. And this was one of the qualifier races that earns you a spot to go to the actual final in this esport category. What it is the way that these races work is that the first race is done through qualifying, and then the second race, which is what this is a reverse grid. So I was completely at the back in this esport race, and I had 15 laps to try and gain as many positions as I can. Forza as well is quite tricky, especially with this lag that's clearly going on at the moment. But I did have, basically, this run is quite cool, so I'll try and talk through as many of the moves that happen as I possibly can. But I think this is one of the things, like Forza Esports I don't feel like it gets the same reach as like F1, but I think that actually at the high level of the game, it's quite competitive, like when you really get the good racing. And this was one of those like quite cool races that go on because it's so tricky. You've got actually people to take note of is up to 3 cars ahead of me right now on the straight. You might be able to just see him. Just up there is a Red Bull Racing Esport car, and he basically was my main rival in this race, and I ended up basically just having to try to take him down as quickly as possible, try and get the positions from him. But 16 cars, everyone kind of hurt. I mean, that was just an awful corner from everyone else around. But yeah, like this is like the kind of endurance style stuff that goes on Forza, and it's like pretty tough to keep the obviously we're not going to go through the entire race because 15 laps of Le Mans would just take a stupid amount of time, but to keep your concentration up is mad. And actually another thing to take note of is that in Forza, can you see on the side of the track I've got these little blue dot things that kind of mark the edge of the track, and that is a little thing you can have on if you want in the game, which just shows you where the edge of the track is, because in the high level races, if you ever leave the track with all 4 wheels, you get an instant penalty, like regardless of if you gain or not. So you have to be able to push the car so hard and get up to such extreme pace. But if you make one mistake and go slightly wide, you will, like, your race is over. So it's like quite tough to keep it.
I was gonna say that's the thing with some of these games, are so harsh on these penalties, aren't they? When you over that limits, it's pretty annoying and frustrating, especially if you've done a great race and you get like a 10-second penalty or a drive through. But yeah, that's one of the things.
You have to go right. You have to push right to the edge of the track limits, because that's where the time is at. Staying in the middle of the track, lose. You've got to push the boundaries of the physics of the game.
Yeah, like I found it became almost a meme, right? Because in my like post-race interviews over the last year, they'd ask me, like, for example, I had a couple races where, that move I did was one of my favorites of the year. I ran the outside on a tiny corner. Sorry, I'm just getting carried away. I just love this drive too much. One of the things with this game as well is that to be really quick, you actually had to kind of not push to its full potential. Like, as you guys were saying, you have to push it so hard. But then those guys that do just sweat everything and just commit like a kamikaze do end up getting a penalty. And then if you're like driving at 95%, then I did, by the way. This race is going well so far. So you can see it's been literally 1 lap and I've already made up half the positions, which was pretty solid. I think once I got to this stage of the race, I knew that there was a good chance that it would, as we've got someone hating on Forza already in the chat. I mean, can't get a break with this game. It's just insane. But yeah, What do you guys think, coming from your more sim-based games? Like, bearing in mind that I did this on a controller, are you elitists? Do you hate controller players too?
Not at all.
No, not at all. It's up to you, isn't it?
The guy who won the top tier championship in my league for the last 2 seasons, both on F1 2019, he used the controller.
Yeah.
Some people are absolutely insane with controllers. It's crazy. Like, it's quite embarrassing. Well, not embarrassing. That sounds really harsh. But you feel a bit embarrassed with the wheel. Then you spend all the money.
Yeah.
But doing it, it's quite embarrassing. You spend thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds on like wheels and pedals, and just turn over the controller and beat you. But
But it's not about like. This is actually one of the really interesting things that I learned over the past couple weeks from getting into proper sim racing, is the the equipment. So I got a full-on rig recently, which I'm like sat in, and it's actually, it has help, but it doesn't make you faster. It just assists with learning to go faster.
Consistency as well.
Yeah, consistency especially. Like the main thing that I wanted to get, that I have got, is I changed my pedals from some Thrustmaster T3 EPA Pros, which use the potentiometers, to getting the Fanatec Club Sport V3, which with the load cell has been like a godsend. It is so much more accurate. So that's some hardcore sim racing stuff. So apologies to any viewers that haven't done as much research as I have. But it's basically the system that like measures how much force you're actually putting down the pedal. It's cheap ones or cheaper ones they measure how much you actually push the pedal. But then when you start looking at the more expensive ones, you get things with load cells which measure actually how much pressure you're putting through your foot into the pedal rather than movement. So it's possible to get way more accurate in your inputs when you get a system like that. So that's what I was learning about.
How much time do you think you've gained from using the load cells? Do you think you've gained a lot of time from that, or?
Honestly, I think I have definitely gained time because I really struggled with getting really precise braking. So any cars like without ABS that you really needed to be spot on the brakes, I found that it was a lot more easy with a potentiometer, so traditional pedal, to brake a little bit too much or not trail brake exactly how you're supposed to. But then with the load cell, it's just easier. My brain it doesn't have to think as much about what I'm doing. It's just more natural. So fair enough. But yeah, I mean, it's all irrelevant for this gameplay though, because I did it using my thumbs. So I mean,
exactly.
It is what it is. But
I find it like physically tiring as well. Like obviously this is an endurance race, but like even when I do like a 50% race on the wheel compared to a controller, like particularly in the summer, like you'll come off and like I'll be like sweating and I'll be like physically tired, you know. It does obviously physically drain you more than using the controller. But for me, the most important thing about the wheel is it probably gains you time, a bit of consistency and stuff like that, but it's just so much more fun. So much more realistic, fun. And you know, I think if you enjoy something more, you're going to put more time into it, which in turn is going to, you know, make you quicker.
That's it.
On the topic of how tiring it is, it's quite funny because if you have a look just there, you can see a tube out before you get too alarmed as to what this tube is. It's actually an air conditioning. It's an air conditioning unit hanging out my window because when I was racing, I was getting so hot I had no choice but to get hold of a proper bit of cooling. And it's Jack, my man, happy birthday. Is anyone else going to wish him a happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack. Hope you're having a good one. Enjoying the stream. Enjoying Tobin's amazing skills. What lap are you on now? 4 and 3rd out of 16.
Yeah. Oh, it is ticking down. They are ticking down.
Candy from a baby, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's, to be fair, like a lot of the main guys, the faster guys in the race, they ended up getting taken out by people, and I just kind of slipped my way through. But yeah, it's been
part of racing, isn't it? Luck.
Exactly.
Luck like, is a big part of it, where you are being in the right place at the right time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And bullying my way past this guy here, you can see actually it's quite. Oh, he bullied me back. Did you see that? I nearly got given. He tried to push me off. You tried to push me off. I think actually, I think going into Molzan Corner, which is the next really slow corner at the end of this straight, I think I'll definitely be thinking about sending it back on him and ending, or not ending his race, but ending his morals. I think I'm too far back.
Important thing as well about sim racing is how you people race with you is often how you're going to race back with them. So if you're racing online with someone, you need to treat them kind of how you'd want to be treated at the same time, you know. So if you're sending it on someone, making contact with them, things like that, then they're only going to do exactly the same to you next time you meet each other on track.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think this is one of the things as well that I learned from competing. Like when I used to do a lot of league racing that was just purely for fun. But then when I started going and doing tournaments where there was proper prize money on the line, the entire ethos changes, and it's quite a harsh reality that when there is money on the line, you have to get really good at I don't want to be rude, but just like by ruining other people's races in a way that looks good, is the way I would explain it. It sounds really bad, but if you look at any esport tournament and you look at some of the moves, the people that are really good at doing really harsh but fair moves are the ones that often are doing really well. Like in Formula One esports, like F1 esports, like Brendan Leigh, my brother, is really good at doing all of that. So yeah. He really is.
He's not your brother, is he?
No, he's not my brother. We used to race with each other though back in the day, like a lot on F1, and then he went through F1, and then I abandoned ship. So it's good to see him be successful as well. But yeah,
it is great to see some of these people.
Sorry, Phil.
That's fine. You carry on.
I was gonna say, Tobin, who was quicker, you or Brendan Leigh back in the day?
Oh, it was definitely him. Yeah. There's a reason I fled. I got out of there. No, he was stupidly fast on F1. He always has been. Like, he's always been really, really quick. But I think he just really likes the game and enjoys it and everything. For me, like, I found that the F1 games just felt a bit like you were driving on ice, and I prefer it when it really feels like you got some weight behind you. But definitely. Brendan was just so good at it, so fair play. Yeah. So, an interesting one actually on that topic. What do you guys think of when, I mean, there might be a bit of bias here because we've got Phill in there, but what do you think of when like Formula One teams and manufacturers get involved with esports and have their own official teams? Like, do you think that's going to continue more and more in the future? Do you reckon that's going to become a normal part of a car manufacturer, like that esport side of things?
I would say I think it's going to keep happening. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, I'm part of the like Ford team, so it seems to be happening quite a lot. I mean, and it's quite good as well. I guess you get exposure in different areas, so like they get you involved with the actual car brand as well as the esports side of things. So I think you know, the F1 team probably started that off really in the F1 leagues, but yeah, no, I think it carry on. I don't know about you guys, but it's just I feel like it branched you out in different areas which are not really part of esports, sim racing, and you know, hopefully improve our exposure really.
I'll come back to that in a sec on my thoughts, but just there, Tobin, talk to us about because that's kind of what happened there. It's called like a switchback, isn't it?
Yeah, we're actually about to see some incredible racing into these chicanes as well, because with the switchback, Addy, the other Ferrari, was able to hold his position relative to myself, but you can see throughout these chicanes he absolutely yeets it through. I don't know how he kept hold of the position as long as he can, but obviously back there, obviously he slowed it down more. I had to overspeed all the way through, and then he got the rotation and was able to overtake me back on the exit. But then once I managed to get out of that chicane, just watch this. It's so funny, his move that he does here. Watch how close he gets to my rear end. It's so scary. Ready? Get ready. This is scary. Oh, it brings back merit. Whoa, there we go. It's probably a bit out of sync, but that was nearly it. It nearly went from like a top race to not a top race.
That's the thing with sim racing, isn't it? One small little mistake and it's like it's all over. You know, it's not like other games like in football you score a goal, you know, and you got a chance to instant. That's it. And if you know, you can go from first to last with the smallest mistake. Like if you were to slightly brake on the grass or something, you know, your car will spin and that. So, but no, I think F1 teams have done a great job in esports to promote it. To be fair, and I think F1 as a company has been, and a sport has been really keen to push it. They've seen the benefits that esport brings. You know, as you said, to like promoting and their you know, people who sponsor them and things like that. So I think it's only going to get bigger. And with the lockdown, particularly, you know, like there were so many F1 drivers and drivers from different categories jumping on and you know, getting involved and showing off their rigs and streaming and things like that. For instance, like I know when Lando and Charles Leclerc, Formula One drivers, once they started playing in lockdown, they were actually able to say to Codemasters, say, hey, look, this isn't realistic how this happens or this works. So I think it's it's everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But there we go. He won. Get in there, Lewis.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, that was a cool race. Like to go from the back row of the grid and manage to slip my way through.
Makes it more
was
satisfying, doesn't it?
absolutely. I think it was good fun. But yeah, like I hope you enjoyed that little clip. I know I did enjoy it. So watching it back again.
Yeah. So in the sim racing scene, what do you think? There's some British talent out there. Anyone notable that you can like talk of? I guess like who you think's done a really good job for British sim racing, really.
I put down my man James Baldwin.
Yeah, he's done very well, Nick.
Yeah, James is like we were teammates on 2 teams because I was on Veloce with him like a couple of years, 2 years ago, and he has done so well with being given a couple of opportunities, and whenever he got those opportunities, he just snapped them up, beast mode it, and then he continued to grow. So yeah, I think James for me is like a really notable guy that I'd want to pop up.
I raced him in Belgium when I did the Project Cars Bell Car race, and it was just insanely quick.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't win the event, but I was watching him just get a bit of like inspiration how he's doing it all and how he's so quick. But he's done absolutely amazing.
Were
you racing with like Brembo and Murphy? Do those guys?
Yeah, there was a couple of people there. I mean, I know that Isaac Price was there, and that Johnny Tom I can't pronounce his name.
Johnny Tormala.
That's the one. Yeah, he was there. They're the ones who won the event eventually. But I was trailing towards the back, but but yeah. Right, so I believe my hot lap's up first, and I'm at Silverstone as well. And
This will be
in the F3 car actually. So it's one of the cars I enjoy racing. iRacing. I do a few leagues in this car. Here we go. So I've got a couple of seconds delay, I believe. So bear with me. Here we go. Right. So again, this lap wasn't perfect. I mean, I was pushing quite hard, but it was on a baseline setup. So I had a few hairy moments, usually using some sort of setup on the car. But I had a few hiccups and went a bit wide in a few corners towards the end. But overall, it was a pretty good lap. But I really enjoy the car. It's an awesome car to drive. When I first got in it, when I first started racing it, was a bit twitchy. Have you ever tried the car, Tobin?
I have.
Yeah, it's a bit wild sometimes. It's quite a quick car, quite good fun to race. So, but yeah. So,
how much do you have to lift at Cops there, or do you not?
You have to lift a little bit. I think I've dropped down to two gears through there, so it's quite a lot, I guess.
Because F1 2020 is the first game you can properly just go flat through Cops.
Yeah, it depends on what setup you're on, really. Sometimes you can drop down to 1 gear, but yeah, I would say it depends on what the setup you got. But I think the baseline, I think, was 2. So, but, I think I got it right. Okay.
So Phil, how are you finding managing the setups on iRacing?
I used to use what's it called now?
VRS.
That's it, VRS. Yeah, I used to use VRS. I don't know why I went blank there. But I use that for a while. But some of the setup I found them quite, they're quite handy. They got me into gave me an idea of what I need to hit. But a bit difficult with some of them because I had a spring load on my load cell on my old pedals, and I've currently got a deck with no load cell, so it found it really difficult to drive about it, and with new setups and stuff like that, I just found it really difficult. So I cancelled my subscription and did it myself, so it found it a lot easier though. But I've got majority of these setups. I'm not very technically minded when it comes to these things, so I need help sometimes. So
what do you think about, actually, this is another topic, and Nick, I'm not sure, because you're in Formula One, like, you might not have experienced this to the same level that like is in sim racing, but what do you think of paywalls and paying for setups and paying for coaching and all of that? Like, because that's nearly started kicking off in Forza back in the day, but it got hit with so much hate from people saying that you shouldn't have to pay for setups in a game. But then it's become the norm in sim racing. I would actually be quite interested to see where you guys stand with that, like paying for different things to help you get faster.
I feel like for me, for instance, as I don't know anything about it at all, I guess I'm paying for the coaching. Like in real life racing, I guess you can do it the same. So if you went, kart and stuff like that, you would get a coach to teach you how to race, basically. So I guess in a way it is. I would say it's quite normal to do that, but
do you not think though that when people, like, the thing that gets me is that I feel like when that happens, when people try and get people to pay for things, they kind of validate it by saying that in real life you would have to pay for this and you would have to pay for that, but like this is sim racing, like it's not real life.
I get what you're saying, for sure. I mean,
it depends what it is exactly. Like setups, I understand, and coaching, I understand. But some things like entry fees to certain leagues and stuff like that, I really hate. I really hate that. It's like there's no cost.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge cost anyway.
Basically, like, particularly just on setups, quick, like, for people who haven't done that much sim racing, setups are so important in terms of, getting the car to perform, extracting as much as you can out of it. So setups are like so important. Obviously, you mentioned it before on your hot lap, you're on a base setup, putting time and effort in to get the right setup, adjusting all these different variables really make a difference to how quick you go. But in terms of the pay thing, I've actually had a really personal experience with this.
Brilliant.
Obviously, I run a PS4 league on F1. I've been doing it for almost 8 years. 8 years next week, actually. And on F1 2019, we just completed our 14th season, and we had a real problem with attendance in the sense that a lot of people sign up and they weren't committing. They would drop out halfway through the season, or if they had one bad race, they would drop out. And obviously, if you're running a league, it's so frustrating because we do all graphics, we do media days, we do loads of stuff, and I have like a team of 10 people who help me run the league, and when these people, drivers sign up and they just drop out because they've had a bad race, or, they just don't turn up and they don't even tell you that they're not able to attend. And obviously all our streams are live with commentary, and it does get really frustrating. So we introduced an entry fee for my league, the first F1 league to do this, and it was £5 for a season. But what we did was all the money we reinvested and put it into prizes. We also did a charity event, so we got prizes for that, and so no money was made from it. And we ended up dropping from 80 drivers to 60. We just opened sign up for the new game, and we allowed 3 weeks, and we thought we'll try and get back up to 80 drivers. We filled 80 drivers within 3 days, because people, like, when we first announced it, like you told me, like, people were like hating on social media and things like that. But then once they saw the quality of racing improving, the attendance improving, the rewards improving, a general better community spirit, because the people who were there for the long run and to complete and enjoy the season. And now we're one of the most respected, leagues on F1 for doing things that, innovating things like this. And no one even, as I said, we filled sign up within 3 days for 80 spaces. So it went from being, we had like articles written about it, and everyone had an opinion on it, and now everyone just kind of goes, oh yeah, they do an entry fee, but it works. So I do see both sides. Sim race, it should be free for everyone, and I totally agree with that. If you want kind of a more serious experience, then obviously leagues, although it doesn't necessarily cost them money, you know, they do put a lot of time and effort into making sure drivers have that platform to, you know, be able to enjoy every week.
Yeah, Nick, that's actually the exact kind of discussion I would have wanted I think that shows that it can be done. It can be done right. And you were saying charging £5 to enter is very, very accessible anyway. So that's no big deal. But from like, I think where my comment came from, it was sort of experiences of certain people wanting several £100 to do a league like that. Like that's completely like that. From my experience anyway, I that made me question how much I think about it. But I totally get a smaller fee to guarantee the attendance and everything like that. But that's legit really interesting. So I'm glad that worked out actually. And to be fair, it does make me think maybe I was jumping to conclusions a bit on my own thought. So
it was so funny because it literally broke the internet when we first announced it. Everyone had an opinion on it, you know. But then once, I think we just kind of, the way we did it, we really explained why we did it, and then once the benefits became apparent, you know, everyone was like, yeah, do you know what, fair enough, yeah, I want to sign up now, you know. And I guess when you're spending £50 on the game, you're playing, you know, to have pay online for a year, and then obviously some people spend £500 on sim setup, so I guess when you look at it like that, it's not, you know, as you said, it's not hundreds of pounds.
No, absolutely. I think that's super interesting, like legit. So, but yeah, Phill, what's going on with the race? I mean, you can see overtaking everyone.
I was going to say,
everyone 5 times, right?
I didn't put the times in there, which is a shame, but it was, I think it was 30 cars in the grid, so this is all AI, so I put 55 on there to make it a bit insane, but it was too much. I kept getting involved in accidents where the car just went into the corner and just caused massive pile-up. So I was like, I put 30 on there, I'll be fine. But yeah, no, it's going alright, I think. I had a few hairy moments. I went onto the grass after avoiding some spinning. On that last lap, a massive slide in the top corner. But,
Phill, how difficult is it if you go on the grass, like to get the car back up to speed?
It's pretty tough. I think watching the grass at speed, you kind of get very loose, so you have to be very, very slow to come back on. So otherwise, the car will just spin back around again. So you've got to be really patient.
iRacing's a killer. Same with F1. I'd probably say that F1's the middle ground, and then you've got Forza, which just doesn't care. Just like you're driving on tarmac still. Yeah, Phill, what's the antenna in the middle of the screen for? I get the impression that some viewers may find it annoying, it being there. I don't know why.
It is a bit frustrating. I've never noticed it, to be fair.
Me neither. I've never seen it before. It's right in the middle of the screen, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I've never noticed it, but now I'm going to notice every race I do, so thanks for pointing it out.
A bit like the halo in F1 that they added for safety.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's just, I don't know what it's for. Do you guys know what it would be for? Like radio, maybe? God knows.
Possible. It's not for safety, is it? It's
not a safety feature, no.
It might legit be the radio. But I don't know. I'll just get, if I speak up, I'll get everyone hating me in the chat.
Why is it so big then? Why is it so big? I don't get it.
Because you're riding on the cockpit cam, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right now, so what other cameras on iRacing like? This
is pretty much it. This is pretty much it. So it's all cockpit cam. You can change your field of view, obviously. I don't know if I've done F1, but you can change your views in that way. But I really struggled actually. So when I was on Project Cars, I used to run bumper cam, and then when I switched over to iRacing, I found it so difficult to adapt to being in the cockpit. It took me months to really get the gist of it. I think that's probably one of the main reasons I went to open wheel racing, because it felt a bit more, I don't know, it just felt more natural. I could see more, where if I was in a GT car, you obviously in the cockpit you see your your pillars and stuff like that, which I found really difficult to adapt to. But yeah, with the Formula 3 car, really enjoy it with the open view as such.
You guys
It is a shame.
VR.
I really want to. That would be insane. But have you got VR yourself? Or?
Yeah, I had it. Past tense. I had it and I used it because I wanted to experience VR, and so I bought an Oculus Quest. Right? Oh, what a move! Anyway, I was using VR and it was amazing, but for me it wasn't quicker. So I literally sold it again. Like, cause for me, I don't care if I'm having a good time. If I'm slow, I'm not having a good time. It's as simple as that. So but I would recommend that you get, like, if you get an Oculus Quest, right? It's like a standalone headset. And if you have a PC that can run it, you can literally buy it, plug it in just through a USB-C. Do it, experience it, and then if you don't like it, the resale value of those things is so strong, you will just sell it for what you bought it for. So
really?
It's a free way to experience it. Yeah.
So I was a bit torn between VR and a triple screen. I was thinking, what should I do? I was thinking more triple screen, but
I think I've actually been thinking about this as well, speaking with people with all the different setups, and the general consensus is that an ultra-wide single monitor is the most efficient way to put in your money and also your computer power, because triple screen drains so much power. But it's still amazing. Don't get me wrong. But
I have seen those nice curved big screens that look amazing. So I get that.
Because we have some good tracks in the UK, don't we? Like Donington Park that we're on now, Silverstone that we're on, Brands Hatch. Like, we're quite lucky in that sense because we really do have some fun, good tracks to drive around.
Which is your favourite? Like, which is the best English track?
It's got to be Castle Coombe, Tobin, isn't it? Our local circuit.
Oh yeah,
Castle
love it.
Of course.
Just flat out everywhere.
Everywhere,
Straight up into, what's that corner called? Like, you know that corner, like, up the hill? There's one that, like, everyone crashes in. That's where I'm flat out every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw those videos. But I think, we're quite lucky, like you said, with the tracks. I mean, my personal favourite is Donington Park. I don't know, I just enjoy it. I don't know, it seems quite a fast flowing circuit. But we are very lucky. We've got, obviously they keep it together as well, like Motorsport Vision. They've taken over most of the service in the UK, haven't they? So, but I think the most insane track, I always think, have they raced there? But Cadwell Park, that's insane. Like, especially on the motorbikes, I've seen, they just take off over the ridge and stuff like that. It's absolutely mental.
Nick, which is your favourite British track? Is it Silverstone?
Yeah, it's got to be Silverstone. I mean, just from the memories that I've had being there, I've been to see the Grand Prix 3 times now. And just such good. Last year when I went with only friends who I'd met through playing F1 games.
Same with me.
Yeah.
So that's funny. And we were right next to each other under the crowd surf as well. So who would have thought it? That we'd be collected again on the British Esports Twitch channel a year later.
It shows you, particularly with any esports, you can make some really good friends for it. As good as friends as I've got in real life, I've made from, racing online. And, it's great to see that there's other avenues for, everyone, particularly young kids, to make, long life friends. Doing things that you love and you can do from your own home and communicate and be competitive. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. To be fair, I agree with Silverstone as well.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a so I love that.
To be fair, I wasn't a huge fan until I started driving the F3 car there. But it's grown on me. It has grown on me. But when I went before, I think when I did the Ginetta, I used to race Ginettas in real life. I tested there. I wasn't a fan of it on the national circuit. I think that kind of put a bit of a bad thing in my head. But now I've raced it and it's pretty good. It's great, definitely.
Can I ask you guys? Do you guys find sometimes certain tracks you have these bogey corners where you just can't seem to ever get them right, no matter how much you practice them?
Yeah.
Tobin's up
Yeah.
early.
There are definitely corners which are harder than others.
I find like certain tracks, like I'll be like, and I've played F1 games for the last 10 years, and I can just still after 10 years, I just don't feel I can ever get the braking into that corner right, or my speed through the corner right. And I'm sure, like other people have other corners which I'm quick at, which they struggle with, and just find it different characteristics of driving styles and things like that affect the car and the lap time so much.
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant race though, Phil. That was like,
Yeah, so it's pretty. It wasn't first. I think it was 7th after the little mistakes. But yeah, I'll take 7th. From 30th, I think,
it was a solid drive. Like it was. So.
Yeah, it was good drive. But yeah, I wish I sent some of my accidents through, because there was some pretty insane ones where I was taking off the top of cars and where people were piling up and stuff. But yeah, I hope for the nicer race.
The Peggy 3 race.
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. But yeah, like
amazing how easy the wheels fall off.
Yeah, no, they definitely improved the damage on there. Yeah, for sure. So, what would you say? Have you had any, what's your craziest sim racing esports moment? Would you say, have you done anything that's been out of this world? I know, Tobin, you've done some world championship events in Forza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that probably one of your highlights, or?
Well, I mean, I've done honestly, I think in terms of the craziest moment, it will always be the first, because I remember when I was 16 and I managed to qualify for the world final of Forza at Le Mans, and it was like you had the 24 hours of Le Mans going on. Cheers, Daniel. Thanks for the nice comment. You got the 24 hours of Le Mans going on the track, right? And then on the inside, on the infield, you had the esport race going on at the same time. Sorry.
I'm laughing in the comments as well.
Yeah, I know. That's just brilliant. Good old Daniel. He should be a mod.
Follow, so that's good.
But yeah, you had the esport race going on at the same time as the real thing going on the track. And at 16, bear in mind, at that point, I was still completely just playing the racing games for fun. I didn't even think I'd have a chance to go there. But then I managed to qualify and enjoy it, and to meet everyone. At that time, I'd never really spoken or met with anyone that I met through racing, so it was mad.
Yeah.
And so that will always be my craziest. But then, I mean, everything else has just been dumb. It's just been dumb how incredible it's been over the last couple of years. So
amazing. And yourself, Nick, have you done is there anything you say stood out to you? Or?
I mean, obviously, I've won a few drivers and constructor team championships on league racing. I've never done anything more serious than that. But for me, my biggest the thing I enjoy most about it is when two things is, first of all, when you see a driver have a few bad races in a season, and then they don't let it get them down. They pick themselves up, they turn themselves around, and they really improve towards the end of the season, say, and or you see drivers who, in my league, they'll start in the lowest tier, and after 2 or 3 games, they'll be right in the top 10 in the world, and it just shows that improvement, that dedication. It's so nice to see, when someone's, just starts off, and then as they progress all the way through, just because of, hard work, because that's how you get quick, isn't it? You just got to practice, put the work in, and have the right ethics to, not let it get you down, because we're all going to say we all have bad races. Everyone will have a bad race, but you can't let it, affect your mentality, I guess.
Definitely. Right. Well, I believe we're nearly done. So, it's been great watching your races. You mean, been pretty insane. Some insane moves. Soon from Nick on that Ricardo move. But thanks again for watching, I guess.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Take it easy, especially my man Daniel with the support in the chat.
Yeah, big shout out to Dan.
Yeah, big thanks for tuning in, guys. Really enjoyed it, and yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out all the other streams.
Yeah.
Hi guys, Dom here. Thanks for watching the stream. I hope you enjoyed that. Something a bit different there. Lots of insight from the free sim racing game advisors. I certainly learned a lot. Some of that went over my head. I'm not super technical with racing lingo or sim racing stuff. But thanks for watching. Just a quick rundown of the other streams we've got coming up this week. We've got a guest takeover from the North America Scholastic Esports Federation on Wednesday from 4 p.m. aka NASEF. So they're going to be giving some insight into what they do in the US. They're kind of similar to us at the British Esports Association, but they're US based. So that's Wednesday at 4 p.m. And then this Friday at 4 p.m, we've got a Valorant show match. That one's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. We've got some of our game advisors and staff taking part. 2 teams of 5. We're going to have voice comms on stream. So if you're interested in Valorant, do check that out. That's this Friday at 4 p.m. And then we'll be back with August's schedule soon, hopefully over the next week or so. But thanks for watching. And Big Beanie said Overwatch. Yes, we have Overwatch in our British Esports Championships. We do tournaments for schools and colleges. So that'll be back again this September/October, one of those 2 months. So yeah, do follow us and you'll have the latest. We also do League of Legends tournaments as well. And Rocket League. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and yeah, I will see you next time. Sacco signing out.